Hi guys, just getting my camera orientation right and how I want it to be. No idea how many people are going to join me today or if any are going to join me. Um, so let's see what happens. I watched a turn the sound down. Oh, that's great. Get it in millions of different sounds. Anyway, yeah, I watched a new TV program last night. It's on Netflix called Adolescence, and I wasn't sure what to expect, but I was really quite surprised by it, and it's led me to a lot of questions and asking myself about incel culture, about modern misogyny, about the Manosphere, and about relationships and how it affects young people today. Because the program itself explores some really difficult topics, and there's a lot in there that I'm trying to understand and find out in my sort of mid-50s. I'm studying psychology at the moment, and this is an area that I want to go into in the future, is to look at this kind of culture, these relationships, and how it is that young boys and men have come to this weird understanding and this weird belief that they're not worthy of women. I'm Gen X, so this didn't occur in my day and age. And, we didn't have the internet when I was growing up. So all of our communication was done either over a telephone or face to face with the person. So we'd go and knock on a person's door and say, hi, can so and so come out to play? Or we'd meet at the park. So there was none of this texting. Now, at the beginning of mobile phones, when mobile phones first came out, and I was, I didn't want one. It was like, don't want one, they cause cancer and all sorts of things that we believed at the time. So, I had a brick with an aerial that pulled up. And at that stage, it was all phone calls. We hardly text. We hardly texted each other, it was phone calls. And then obviously as phones became more modern, more directed to an Android phone, texting became the norm. And I know in my age group now, we generally text rather than phone. So it's been a big shift for Gen X and probably for older generations. Now, what I have noticed about older generations, to me, this is what you would call the boomer generation, is that they tend to phone. They don't text as much. And my mum, for example, she's the silent generation. She has a mobile phone and she's got problems with her eyesight, so she can't see to text. But she would never have dreamed of texting. She would have always picked up the phone and phoned the person and spoke to them. Whereas now, a lot of us sort of text each other or message each other through Messenger or WhatsApp or whatever other medium or social media platform you're using, and say, is it okay to ring you? Can I have a chat? Because we always have our mobile phones with us. We always have them in our hands or in our pockets, and we're available 24/7. And that's quite scary. It's almost as if we don't have downtime from our devices. And, being on social media, having a YouTube channel, I consume a lot of YouTube, articles, videos, and so on as well. So I am one of those people who use the internet and who, communicates through the internet. So I get the whole connection with the internet and the whole contacting somebody before you ring them, unless it's an emergency. But what I've noticed recently is into my explorations with feminism, with narcissistic relationships. My channel started off with narcissistic relationships. In other words, women who were abused by men. And yes, I want to put in place here before I go on, I know and I'm fully aware that there are men who are abused by women. I accept that, it's abhorrent. However, I don't have experience of that. So I speak from my own experience, having been a woman who was in an abusive relationship, or several, with an abusive man. So please don't shoot the messenger here. Please don't go, oh, but you're speaking about, women, men being abusive and not women being abusive. I'm aware of what happens. I do know what goes on out there. However, I'm looking at this, as I say, from my own perspective, being as a woman having gone through an abusive relationship. And as a woman now in my mid-50s, sort of looking at the dating culture that's out there. Now, I don't want to date. I have no inclination to date at all. I'm happily single. I love my life. I enjoy my own time, my own space. So I'm just trying to understand now how this culture has changed, how the dating culture has changed so much in the last 20 years. So last night I watched this program on Netflix called Adolescence. A fantastic show. It's a 4-part limited series. Highly, highly recommend it if you haven't watched it. I'm going to try not to give any spoilers away. But some of the topics that it does discuss and investigate are incel culture, misogyny, the manosphere, and relationships. So as I was watching this, I noticed that the characters who were my age in the show were not aware of the incel culture, were not aware of the manosphere and misogyny and how that impacts us in our daily lives, or especially how it impacts young boys and men. And women, obviously, it impacts them as well. Now, so I've done a bit of investigating into this afternoon, and what I have seen is where incel comes from, which was first used in 1997, and it was used by men to explain that they were involuntary celibate. I get that. I get the meaning of the word. And I get why it arose. Because some men believe that women are not interested in them, that women will never be interested in them. And I'm trying to work out why they think that. Why do some young men and young boys think that they are not going to be able to get a girlfriend? Now, I investigate Andrew Tate and the whole circus world that he manages and puts out this content as an influencer that is really quite gross and disgusting. The way that he speaks about women and to women and instructs young boys and men to treat women. And I find that, besides being frightening, which it is, and besides being something that is really misunderstood, it is really sort of his twist and what he thinks a woman should be like. And this is now being taught to young boys and men. And to me, this is creating this incel culture. This is creating this sort of divide between men and women. So one thing that was mentioned in this show was the 80-20 culture. Now, I was like, what is this? How does this relate to relationships? And the way it was explained in the show was that 80% of women want the top 20% of men in a relationship. So I thought, right, I'm going to investigate this, and I did. And I found a brilliant article from Medium, which I had to create an account for. And the title of this is, I'm just scrolling up to the top because I was reading the article and I didn't scroll up, is Women Do Not Think 80% of Men Are Below Average. And we don't. In my experience and in my knowledge, we don't. Guys, if you've got any thoughts or explanations or what you have investigated on this, perhaps your understandings, please feel free to pop some comments below. Say hello. You know, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. This is not just, I don't just want this to be me talking about my thoughts, but what your thoughts are and why you think this phenomena has occurred. My belief is that it's occurred because of people such as Andrew Tate, who has created this whole manosphere, this influencer status that says, right, you know, men must be alpha. I don't get that. I don't understand why a man has to be classed as an alpha male. Because if a man is following somebody like Tate, who claims to be an alpha male, that would automatically make them a beta. Some of what Tate teaches is fair enough. Going to gym, looking after yourself, you know, those things are great. But I can tell you, as a woman, I don't find muscular men attractive. I never have. Women have different tastes in men. Just the same way as we have different tastes in clothes, different tastes in music. We don't all like the same look or appearance of a man. There are certain things that we've noticed, and I'm going to come to that a little bit later. But the impression that men have, and I think that this has been given to them by the likes of Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson and other influencers in the manosphere, are that women only want this type of man. And that is false. If that was the case, why are there so many people on the earth? Why are there so many marriages and relationships? If it was the case that women only wanted the top 20% of men, there would be a lot more single women of younger age. I'm not saying there aren't a lot of single women, and I'm not saying there aren't a lot of single men, because clearly there are. But this thought of women are only interested in men who are like this, who are wealthy, who have a good job, who have a this, a that, and the next thing. And a lot of what I read and a lot of what I study around relationships in the psychology field is that that's not the case, that women don't necessarily go looking for the richest man or the best looking man or the man who's got the biggest muscles or the flash car or the whatever. A lot of women will look at those men and think, you absolute idiot, you know, because that shows a level of ego that they have, a level of that they have this belief about themselves that they're better than everybody else, and they drive this car and they wear these suits. And I mean, look at Andrew Tate. You know, he wears these suits that are clearly too tight for him, and he's wearing them to show off his muscles, and he just looks stupid. He really does look stupid. I don't think he looks attractive at all. He's a shouty person. He shouts all the time. He's always so angry. Women don't want an angry man in their lives. They want a man who is caring, who is loving, who is gentle, who will bring them a sense of peace and a sense of joy and happiness, not angrily shouting all the time. So my question is, what is it that an incel is really looking for in a relationship? What do they actually believe about themselves? Now, when I look at Andrew Tate and the things that he has taught in his PhD course, he's taught such things as slapping a woman is fine, physically hurting a woman is fine, that women want to be treated that way. Every single woman I know does not want to be treated that way, does not want to be slapped around, does not want to be spoken to in that way, does not want to be shouted at, but wants to be loved, wants to be cared for. And a lot of men view women who are feminists as being full of hatred towards men. And that's not the case. A lot of men believe that feminism is about women wanting to be better than men, and it's not. It's about wanting equality with men. Now, this does not mean, and I get this all the time, yeah, but women are not builders, and women can't do this, and women can't do that. Yeah, completely understand that. Completely accept and agree with that. This is not about a woman wanting to become a builder. Yes, there are female builders out there, and I know they're in a minority. It's about women wanting equal pay for the same work. And there are a lot of reasons why that doesn't happen. The main one being that a woman generally has children. And there are many different areas around that make that difference. But if a woman is doing the same job as a man, she should be paid the same amount. There are other areas of inequality as well. And this, to me, this incel culture and relationships seems to be one of them. So what I've experienced as a woman, and I'm on a lot of different Reddit groups and groups on Facebook and so on, where these issues are discussed, where a lot of men seem to think that they can treat women however they want and be as nasty to them as they want. And that if they give a woman a compliment, then the woman owes them something. I don't get the logic there. I don't get why men think this, because a woman sat at a bar. She's with her friend. They're having a drink. And a man comes over and starts talking to the one woman and, starts flirting with her and asking her name. And the woman clearly is not interested. She's like, thank you, but, I'm not interested. And then all of a sudden the man seems to think this is an opportunity for him to now, okay, I'm going to carry on this path now. I'm going to try a little bit harder. She said no, but I'm going to ignore that and I'm going to, try again. And I've seen quite a few male relationship gurus online say, yes, this is a chance to, it's a game that women play. No, it's not. If a woman says no, she means no. If a woman turns to speak to that person, then she is showing some sort of interest. It does not mean, however, that she is going to have intercourse with you. It means that she perhaps would like to get to know you a little bit better. However, these men tend to become quite aggressive. At this point, if the woman says no and then is constantly rebuking them and saying, look, I'm not interested, the man tends to get aggressive. The young man tends to get aggressive and seems to think that because he gave that woman a compliment, she owes him something, whether that is a conversation, a kiss, or even further. That's not the case. The man then becomes abusive. oh, you must be gay, oh, you must be this, blah, 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 blah. And this is what the woman is afraid of. This is why the woman at the beginning of the conversation will be polite and nice. Instead of going faff, you know. I've seen a lot of videos recently where women are starting to growl at men when they are confronted by them in the street. And I actually think that's a good idea. You know, a man will come up to a woman to say something to them that the woman has not asked for, but the man seems to think that he is entitled to do that. And the woman turns around and growls at them, barks at them. And I think that's a good response, to be honest. I run every day, and I wear tight running gear. It's hot. I don't want things flapping around. And when I'm hot, I wear a proper racerback top, and I wear leggings. And I often get men commenting, oh, you're looking fit. And I think to myself, would you say that to a man? The man who said that, would they say that to a man? No, they wouldn't. Would a woman say that to a man? No. I've never, ever, ever seen a woman say that to a man. If it has happened, let me know. But why do some men, not all men, think that it is appropriate? Is this a form of misogyny, that some men will approach a woman at a bar, try to have a conversation with her, and she says no, she's not interested, and then this anger comes out, this sort of expectation from them comes out, and they become shouty and aggressive, and it just becomes this argument, this fight, this unwanted attention, and the man just becomes aggressive. Surely there must be some part of a man who thinks, okay, she said no, she's not interested. If I stick around here, I'm going to be embarrassed even further. So surely it would be better for the man to say, okay, I'll speak to you later, or whatever. Just take the hint that the woman doesn't want to speak to you, instead of that constant pursuing that woman further when she doesn't want that attention. Like I said, if a woman says no, she means no. So this brings me to the misogyny side of things, where some men who believe that the woman should respond to them and should be, attentive to them when they've given them a compliment, even if the woman's not interested, brings out this anger in men. And we've seen instances of this happen recently. The last year when Axel Radicobane went and unalived 3 girls in Southport, Alice, Bibi and Elsie, and he used a knife, and he did that because he hated women. And these were young girls. These weren't women, these were young girls. But he went there deliberately to do that. And this is what women are afraid of. This is why women are afraid of saying, no, I'm not interested, is because we don't know how the man is going to react. Is he going to pull out a weapon? Is he going to punch us? Is he going to hit us? And this is why I say you must go and watch Adolescence. It's a really, really brilliant, fantastic show that really explores these issues. And coming back to that 80-20 sort of proportion that seems to have somehow moved into relationships, that 80% of women are only interested in 20% of men, and that's not the case. I'm going to link the article that I read into the description box below. However, you'll have to create an account to read the article, because it is behind, it's not a paywall. You can read it without paying for it. But it does debunk that myth. It does debunk that myth. Now, what I see online when I look at various posts that, you know, in groups that I belong to, where women have put up posts saying, you know, where men have said, oh, look at this woman, she's wearing that. And there was something about a singer that came up in one. Can't remember the singer's name. And she was slim and fit in the one photo, and then more recently she's gained weight. Now, to be honest, she's still got an amazing body, she still looks fabulous, but men were saying, oh yeah, she looks like she's eaten quite a few tacos and this, that, and the next thing. I think Selena, somebody, not sure of the name. And I just thought, hang on. So I had a look at the pictures, these guys, the guys that were saying this. I went and had a look at their pictures, and I thought, well, who are you to speak? Look at you. How many pints of beer have you had? How many hamburgers have you had? How many cakes have you had? You know, and you are talking about a woman who is completely out of your league. But you think that she's, you know, lost her appeal because she's gained a few pounds. There's this double standard. There's this hypocrisy. So my question is, what is it that has attracted young boys and men to the incel culture? Why have they now got this problem of speaking to girls and accepting when a girl says, no, I'm not interested? Why do they go on and carry on and push and push and push? There was something that I read earlier today, which I thought was quite telling. Not amusing at all. Sorry, I'm just trying to get it up on my phone now. I copied it to my phone. It's from an anonymous member of a group that I belong to, and it's, why are girls such teasers? And he goes on to say, I've had a crush on my friend Tammy since we were 9, so almost 20 years. She's told me that she doesn't see me that way, but loves me as a friend. To me, that is something that a girl can do. She can be a friend with a guy and love them as a friend. I have many male friends who I love as friends. I don't want any other relationship with them other than to be friends. Like a girl can love a guy only as a friend. Well, yes, she can. She has always made me so horny. I admit I took a pair of her panties out of her hamper a few years ago. Not cool, I guess. You guess? No, it's not cool at all. It's quite disturbing, to be honest. But the smell got me so hard. Last week I told her again how much I love her and that I think about her all the time when I masturbate. She freaked. I put my hands on her waist and went to kiss her, and she kneed me in the nethers. I was lying there and she kicked me again. She told me she never wanted to see or talk to me again. Like, what the F was the big deal? Why was she not flattered when I told her I masturbate while thinking about her? I texted her and she told me if I really cared about her, I should cut off my wiener. That, what should I do? How can I get her to love me? Dude, you ruined it there completely. Okay, so she said, obviously countless times, that I love you as a friend. Now, I've seen something else here as well online, this friend zone thing that has occurred and arisen recently. There has always been a friend zone. Women are in friend zones of men. And we don't go and take a pair of underwear from a man's hamper Just the thought of that is disgusting. And, you know, we are in the friend zone. We're friends with that person. We get on with them. We perhaps like them. Perhaps we're attracted to them. But we can accept that, okay, we're mates. That's fine. But this guy put his hands around her waist and went in to kiss her after he told her that he masturbates over thinking about her while he sniffs her panties. And she has told him that she only wants to be friends. But hi Stephanie, but he decided he was going to take it one step further and try and push his luck that little bit further. And then she kicked him in the nads, and rightly so. She had told him from the beginning that she only wanted to be friends, and yet he decided to try and push his luck again and again and again and again. And by telling him, you know, to go and cut it off, she's right. She doesn't want anything more to do with this guy. And this guy's now saying, how do I make her love me? You don't, you can't. There's no way that you can do that. Yeah, it is gross, Steffi. It is very, very gross. Why does a man think that he can do that? Obviously, he's about 29. If he's known her for 20 years and they were 9 when they met, so I'm guessing he's around 29. This is a grown man who thinks that he can force this woman to love him, force her to be in a relationship with him. This is when the woman becomes scared and afraid, because she knows that if she says anything to the man and asks him to stop, there may well be violence from that man. And she doesn't want that. Because she knows that she may well become unalived. She may well become a statistic. And so this program that I was watching, Adolescence, and if you haven't seen it, I suggest you watch it. I actually binge watched all 4 episodes last night. It was that good, really, really good. And it just got me thinking of these issues as to how the incel culture has arisen, how has it arisen? What is it that has created this culture? What is it that has given men the thought that they are entitled to any woman, and yet they don't seem to do anything in a right way? They don't take no as a response. So Steffi put a good point here. Male entitlement. Yeah, I think that probably is one of the reasons. Steffi, Adolescence. Yes, watch it. It's brilliant. It really is brilliant. The acting is superb. It really is superb. I'm actually going to do a video about it later on when I finish this live, because that's what got me thinking about this. And then there was something else that happened today as well, and it was like, okay, this seems to be the sort of area that I may want to, you know, look at in the future with my psychology studies. So what do you think, besides the male entitlement and the fact that we've had misogynists online teaching young boys and men that they can have and treat women badly and have this relationship, and that these boys and men have to be rich, have to be attractive, have to be this, that, and the next thing for a girl to like them? And yet that's not the case. And I've said this many times, and I get men and boys telling me, no, but you're wrong. Women want this. I'm a woman. I know what women want. You know, we want to be treated with respect, with kindness, you know, not shouted at in a ranty voice, not looked down upon. We want to be asked questions if we go on a date with a man, not for the man to give us their life story without asking us any questions. So this whole manosphere area of Tate and Jordan Peterson seems to have misled boys and men into thinking that they have to be a certain way in order for women to want to be with them, and also that they have to be a certain way to be the best, to make sure that they get the best woman. But what about the best woman for them? Surely that should be the goal, rather than this sort of, I want the best for myself, and not allowing the woman to say no. Say, no, I will have this, I will have that, you know, take that away. I'm not going to take no for an answer. And I see these other influencers online, relationship influencers, supposed relationship influencers, saying that if a woman says no, you carry on pursuing that woman. No, if a woman says no, she means no. The same as if a woman approached a man and he said no, he wasn't interested in a relationship, and then she would be relegated to the friend zone, even though that has always been a thing. She would just accept that and go, okay, that's cool, I tried, you know, I'm not going to push it any further. Why should she? What, you know, if I liked a person and thought they were attractive and approached them and they said no, but I still liked them as a person, why would I not want to be friends with them? Why would I not want to speak to them? Wouldn't make a difference. I would then say, okay, that's, you know, fair enough. Is it a pure generational thing? Is it the manosphere? Is it misogyny? What is it that has brought about this complete change in what boys and men think women want? And these men like Tate and like Peterson are spouting this stuff, saying women want this, women want that, women want the next thing. But what qualifications do they have in order to say that, other than Tate, you know, having his OnlyFans girls and the shouty, angry behavior that he constantly has, and this idea that he's teaching boys and men to mistreat women? Does he honestly think that women are going to want to be with that kind of man? In the last 50, 60 years, let's say 70 years, women have changed, women have evolved. We no longer need a man to support us. We can support ourselves. We no longer need a man to provide for us. We also no longer need a man to protect us. Because what is a man protecting us from? Other men. We know this. We know that the male hormone, testosterone, is the angry hormone, and this is what men bring out when they are all vying for position of this one woman who's attractive, and yet the other women who are there, who are just as attractive, are being ignored. And yet this man who's doing this vying for attention is perhaps not attractive either. So where do we come together with this? And I'm asking these questions. I'm not trying to say this is how it should be or that's how it should be. I'm trying to understand why this has happened, why boys and men think this way. Why, when we look at Axel Radicobane and the unaliving that he did of Alice Beebe and Elsie, in Southport last year. Why did he think that he had the right to do that? He clearly hated women, girls. That was part of his belief, part of what he thought, that he'd been rejected. So he then thought, right, I'm going to get my own back on these people who I don't know because I've been rejected by a woman or a girl. But rejection's been happening for centuries. And as I say, it's only the last 70 or so years that women have realized that we don't have to settle for an aggressive man, for a man who is toxic. That we don't have to settle for somebody who we feel is going to mistreat us. Many women want to be single. Statistics out there show that women who are single are happier than women who are in marriage. Yet men who are married are happier than single men. So the theory goes that women are happier single because they don't have to then look after a man. They don't have to baby him. They don't have to feed him, you know, look after him when he's poorly because he's dying. And men want to be babied and looked after like a child. So there's this disconnect that's happening now. And it really is, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, as I said earlier, you know, I'm not saying that this is the way it is or that's the way it is, but I do think that men need to get a grip on this and realize that they need to bring to the party what the woman brings to the party. I see a lot of men complaining that that their masculinity has been taken away from them. No, it hasn't. A masculine man is not somebody who hits a woman. It's not somebody who grapes a woman. A masculine man is somebody who knows who they are, who knows how to treat a woman, who knows how to be a father, who knows how to be a lover, who can also be somebody who is a protector, but in a way that is not aggressive. So when you've got people like Tate and like Peterson and the others in the Manosphere preaching that a man has to be this way, that is what is creating the incel culture, because women and girls don't want to be treated like that. As Steffi said earlier in the comments there, male entitlement. And that is something that has been passed down through generations of men to their sons and so on. And what's been passed down through generations of women to their daughters is protect yourself. Beware of men because they're going to hurt you. They will hurt you. And I have 5,000 friends on Facebook. Let's say half of those are women. That 2,500 women, pretty much every single one of them has experienced some form of, whether it's physical or sexual abuse by or from a man. So men really need to up their game and start to realize that their masculinity is not based on the size of their biceps or the car that they drive or the tightness of the jacket that they wear that shows off the biceps that they may think looks attractive. There is so much more to masculinity than that. There really is. When women want equality, as I started off, women wanting equality with men, it's not about wanting to be a builder. It's not about you know, we know we don't have the physical strength that men have. Some of us do. Some of us are stronger than some men. But we're aware of that. We know what our strengths are and we know what our weaknesses are. Sorry, my alarm is going off on my phone.
Hello.
Stop it.
It's
right, there we go. Cat's tea time. We know what our strengths are, we know what our weaknesses are, and so should men. And people like Tate and Peterson are creating this horrendous environment where they are leading boys and men to believe that they are not worthy of women or of having a girlfriend. And that's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying. It's terrifying for the boys because they seem to think that they are being left out, that they're not masculine enough. And it's terrifying for the women because we're scared. We're scared of that aggressive behavior that comes if we reject a man. So let me know what your thoughts are around this. Pop something in the comments if you want to. I'm going to link that article from what's the magazine again? Oh, it's a Medium. It's called Medium. It is a member-only story, so you do have to create a member's account, but you don't have to pay. You can get this without paying. I mean, you can go and close your account or unsubscribe or whatever. But one thing that I did want to say that some other man had said to me, oh, women's and men's brains are different. No, they're not. They're actually not. I want to find the passage in here, if I can find it. I may have marked the page. But there is no difference between the size of a man's brain and a woman's brain. They are exactly the same. I can't find it right now. And this is written by professors. So, you know, these are people who've studied psychology and studied the brain. So there is no difference between a man and a woman's brain. Physiologically, there is a difference in our bodies. There is a difference in the hormones that we have in our bodies. So men have testosterone, women have progesterone and estrogen. That is purely for the fact that women are the childbearers and men are the impregnators. The 80-20 law that exists is a very, very old caveman kind of thought where the woman would choose the fittest man and the man would choose the fittest woman, and that was to ensure the continuation of the human species. Things are different now. We live in a very different time. We live in a time where we can be what we want to be and do what we want to do. And unfortunately, some men are going to have to get used to that and accept that that's the way it is. That, you know, studying the whole area of relationships rather than listening to some bloke tell you on the internet, oh, if a woman says no, just pursue her further, or some other bloke on the internet telling you it's okay to slap a woman because that's what she wants when she actually doesn't. They are the people that have taken away your masculinity. And masculinity is not, like I said, about the size of your muscles or the kind of car that you drive or the house that you live in. Masculinity complements femininity. The two go together. Now, you know, I'm going to put aside here the intersectional relationships, trans, gay, and so on, the LGBTQIA area, because that is a whole different area. However, those people still want relationships as well. And it is just a sexual preference. But within the homosexual relationships, the man and woman want to be together, and there's a clear female and male role. But this doesn't mean that the woman has to be the housewife. This doesn't mean that the man has to be the provider. Changes are happening, and it's slow in happening. But some men, influencers such as Tate and Peterson and all the rest that are out there, seem to think that they have every right to teach young boys and young men how to behave. And you know what their main goal is? Money. That's it. It's money. Because they're making money from you if you are watching that content, if you are subscribing to that content, if you are paying them to be in their university. That is what it's about for them. It's not about teaching you how to be a better man. Speak to your mothers, speak to your sisters, speak to your aunts, your nieces, and find out from them, the people that you know, what it is that they see or would like to see in a man in a relationship. Instead of listening to some bloke on the internet tell you what is and what isn't. I know I'm on the internet. I'm not telling you that this is what you should do or shouldn't do. Beware of people who tell you that you should be aggressive towards women, that you should push a woman into doing something that they don't want to do. Respect that woman. Respect yourself as well. Because by trying to force a woman to do something, to have a relationship with you when she doesn't want to, is a lack of self-respect. So if a woman at a bar says to you, I'm not interested, turn around and walk away. Say, okay. And just walk away. Rather than trying to push it that little bit further, trying to push it that little bit further. I saw a video yesterday. There was a young lass, she was eating a burrito. It was American or Canadian. I think it was Canadian because of the pronunciation of some of the words, the oohs. And she was trying to eat, and this guy was talking to her. She was filming quite, on her phone, but he couldn't see, she didn't have it pointing at him. And she was filming because she was scared. And I get that because I've done the same thing. And he kept asking her questions, and she's trying to eat, and she's telling him, look, sorry, I'm not interested, thank you. I'm, going to carry on eating. And she was being so polite about it. And I think to myself, my God, I would have just told him to F off, I'm eating. But that is the fear that younger women have these days about that being approached by men can be terrifying. So guys, explore different things around you. Try not to just listen to one influencer online. Pick a couple of others. There's a guy called Aaron Doughty and what's the other guy's name? They're doing videos together now. I will put a link into the description later on to one of their videos so you can go and have a watch. But they're really good. They're all about helping men. There's another guy, Matthew, I can't remember his surname. He's also really good about giving advice to men about women, rather than a man who tells you that slapping a woman is okay. Right, I'm going to head off now because my cats want their tea and I want my tea. But let me know what you think. Thanks, Steffi. Thanks, you're very welcome. And I thank you for watching my channel, and I thank you for following. And please, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please like the video, it helps the channel. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to, and share the video. It'll be available to share a little bit later. I have to change things and change the privacy setting and so on, but you will be able to share it later. Steffi says, before her transition, she never feared rejecting guys, but she does now. Yeah. Yeah. It's terrifying. I'm lucky because I'm 6 foot tall. So I've always had this height advantage, and many people have told me I'm intimidating towards other people, and I don't really care about that. That's just me and who I am. But I see a lot of women and girls who are slimmer, who are, you know, more petite than me. How would they handle that situation? Would they be able to handle themselves in that situation? Anyway, I'm going to head off because the cats are banging on the door. I don't know if you can hear them. And I have to put drops in one of them's eyes because he keeps hiding from me. He gets onto the top of the cat tree right at the back, so I can't reach him, because he knows he's going to get manhandled or cat handled and have drops put in his eyes. Anyway, keep a watch out for the videos. I've got some interesting ones coming up next week that I'm busy writing the scripts for at the moment. And have a good weekend. I hope to see you next time. Blessed be. And now I have to stand up to switch this off.